Welcome back to Truth Over Tea. We're going to talk to you about living out loud and living your authentic life and being yourself. So last April, we had 8 speakers here at Paris in a Cup for the Launch Your Creativity workshop. And there was a common thread knit between all of us of being authentic and really being who you are, not trying to mold yourself into someone else's expectations. Well, Leedy spoke at that event, and so did Deb. But Leedy has some really great perspective on being true to yourself. Will you share a little bit about what you shared that day in April?
Okay. Well, basically, I think that part of being online is that there's so much to compare yourself to. Mm-hmm. And when I first started being online a lot, after I conquered the computer, I started comparing myself, and everybody online looks fantastic. They don't have a dishwasher that breaks, a freezer that breaks down, just a bad hair day. I mean, everybody looks just so perfect. And I kind of got caught in that trap of comparing myself, and I started feeling worse and worse about myself. I kept thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not glamorous, I'm not rich, I don't live in a mansion, I don't, you know how it goes. So finally, thank goodness, I got a clue. And when I was a little girl, my most favorite Disney movie was Snow White. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that poor evil queen, when she looked into the mirror and said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" What would have happened if that mirror would have said, "Hey, it's you. You are an amazing, creative woman with so much to give. You have great ideas, you're kind, you're beautiful, you're wonderful." I mean, how would the story of Snow White have changed? And that's, I think, what's hard for all of us women to do. When we look in our mirror, what do we see? Do we see someone who has positive attributes, or are we constantly looking at everybody else and saying, "Oh, look at Sylvia, she's wearing that really cute flower, and I'm wearing a jeans jacket today." Or Deb, she's got like such beautiful hair and everything's great about her. You know what I mean? It's like we're constantly comparing. Mm-hmm. So part of being authentic to yourself is kind of embracing who you are, and you don't have to be stuck up and say, "Wow, I'm better than everyone else." But you do at least have to come to a point in your life where you think, "You know what? I'm good enough. Mm-hmm. I'm this and this and this and this, and it's good."
Yeah, that's really important.
Yes.
You spoke a little bit earlier, before we were having our little talk, about how as a high school girl you went to a thrift store and bought a vintage velvet dress and wore it, and your mom just didn't
like it. Yeah.
And that essence of who you were, your own style, that's hard to do in today's world. You look just fabulous today, and you have your own style, and you like bragged about your thrift shop shoes.
I know.
And I love that, because
Girls,
it's not
it can
about
happen.
Oh, absolutely. It's not about what you spend or what store you went to or whose name is on the label. It's about, does it reflect you?
Right.
And I think that part of authentic style, that's just simply about the way you look, or maybe about the way your business looks. But when you start comparing, and the media just helps us compare way too much, and I should weigh this much and I should wear that, or you know, if we can just find ourselves and express it in whatever way we choose, I think that goes a long way in our self-confidence in everything that we attempt in life.
I agree. I think right now, when you're looking through the magazines, you're listening to the media and what's going on in the press, you're constantly hearing, you know, you've got to have this, you got to have that, you got to be here, be there, wear that. And really, for us women, in our heart of hearts, what we're begging for is authenticity, and just to be who we are, and to be enough as who we are, embracing each of our talents, because each one of us is created in the image of the Creator. Yes. I truly believe that. And being that He's the Creator, and we're made in His image, we are creative vessels also. And we need to express ourselves. And that can be whether it's your creative business, it can be whether it's something that you do with your family, like in creating your home, in that nurturing environment that we talked about earlier with traditions. It could be just expressing yourself like through that beautiful pin that you've made. Just so many different ways of just being who you really are. And the bar doesn't need to be up here. You know, we need to set our own bar and march to the beat of our own drum. Otherwise, we're not happy. And we're going to bed at night, we're broken, we feel like we're not worthy, we get out of bed, you know, and at my house, the dog is thrown up on the floor yet again, which is like all the time. And
Right.
and you just you start thinking, what is wrong with me? What's wrong with my life? Because it doesn't look like what I'm seeing out there.
Right.
Exactly.
And yet what we're seeing is a facade. It's not
fake.
real.
Right.
I mean, say the words reality television and you laugh because it's not.
It's
I'll admit,
nothing,
I
right.
watch a few shows and I laugh when I watch them because it's like, it's like staring at Pinterest pictures. They're beautiful and wow, that's interesting and it's funny or it's really drama, but it's not real.
It's not real.
And I think we become so outwardly focused. We need to be inwardly focused. That's been a huge theme in my life for the past 2 years since it all imploded, and I've had to really find out who I am and what my values are and what I want to do and what I want to be about. And it's not selfish. It's not selfish to go within and figure yourself out and work from your strengths and then work on your weaknesses. But if you don't do that, then you're always looking somewhere else to get that great sense of who you are, and you'll never find it.
Right. And I also wanted to say that if you are someone who doesn't want a business, then don't have a business.
Yeah.
You are so important being just who you are. Like if you're single, to be a light in your community. If you're married, to be a great wife and to take care of your home. If that's what you love to do, then that's what you should do. I don't want to give anyone the message that you have to do it all. You don't.
Right.
And it might not be the time for you to do it all. If you have 3 young kids, you might just love being a mom. I did. I didn't work until way later in my life because when my kids were young, I loved staying home. I didn't do anything else. I didn't feel like I had to. And it was time well spent.
It is. And each of us is called to something different. And
At a
also goes
different
back to
time.
the seasons. You had a
Right.
season of raising your
Right.
children, and you did too, and then you both went on to open successful businesses later in life. But I want to go back to something that you said, Deb. You said you took some time to get to know yourself recently. That is probably the single most important thing a woman can ever do. And it's an ongoing process because who you are at 20 is not who you are when you're 30
It can't
40,
possibly be
50.
who you are.
Yeah, because
we
we
owe it to
grow
ourselves
and,
to do that.
and we change. And here at this table, we have 40, 50, and 60. So all stages of life, all different levels of personal growth, professional growth, just a lot of wisdom coming to the table, just to encourage your heart that wherever you are in life, just be who you are, be your authentic self, and don't compare yourself to
Don't compare, don't apologize.
someone else.
And don't listen.
I
mean, really.
Listen to us, but don't listen to them.
Well, what I mean was that at Launch Your Creativity, I handed out these little boxes, and on the top it said, open in case of doubt, which meant that if you were starting to doubt yourself, open this box. And one of the things I put in there were earplugs. And the reason for that is because we have naysayers in our life.
Yes.
We have people who say to us, you can't do it, you're never going to be able to do that,
You're
whatever
never
it
too
is.
old, you're too old, you don't have enough
whatever.
money or whatever.
You're not talented enough, however, but we have to learn when to put those earplugs in and when to take them out. And, that's why I put the earplugs in there as a symbol of, there are times when we have to plug our ears.
That's true.
Because the naysayers will.
And that kind of goes back to surrounding yourself with people who will support you, not people who will lie to you and say,
Right.
oh yeah,
Right.
it's a great idea to launch a business with hats made out of cheese. I mean, they need to be people that you can actually trust their opinion. But if you're surrounded by a lot of people who are negative, then you need to seriously look at how you pick your friends and who you hang out with.
Right.
It's
Or
true.
what your boundaries are. That's been an issue with me is, you just have to find a point. It's not selfish, it's self-aware to know that those kinds of people, I mean, you can take some negativity in your life,
I
but you
know.
do need people
Yeah.
to say, have you really thought through this
Yeah.
marketing plan?
Right.
And that's a good thing, but those naysayers who are constantly hitting you with, you're crazy, you're nuts, you can't do this, you don't have the experience, you don't have the degree,
Who do you
whatever.
think you are?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Why do you think you deserve this? And I've heard that. It's like you have to come to a point where you go, I deserve to try. Like you said
We
earlier,
deserve
Sharon,
to try.
we owe it to ourselves to try. If this is our passion, that's the best way to succeed, is to do something that you're passionate about. And because it drives you forward and you want to share it. And those, you do. Put in the earplugs. I love that, Cheryl. That's like a
that is
t-shirt.
a good one. Yeah, that is a
We do.
t-shirt.
We have to learn that.
Well, thank you girls so much for sharing that, because it's not easy to always say that, hey, this is what I've listened to, or, I went through that. But we hope that really encourages your heart just to hear the stories and glean from our experiences. And join us again for more Truth Over Tea.